This is Justin Amazon on Friday, April 20th, 2018. With a look at the pre-market today. Looks somewhat similar to yesterday, except yesterday we kind of had a bit of a sell-off pre-market, came down here and bounced. And today it's like, oh, good, we're opening relatively the same level that we were at the close yesterday. This, could just kind of continue to chop around, but, we got above these resistances, with this move, we're opening above that. Maybe we'll just stay up in this area and just kind of grind a little bit higher, which we do some days on expiration Friday. And the very first opening candle completely dismissed that idea. It actually fell so quickly, only about $12 here. Or no, 15, where are we at? I don't know. No, about $12 there. That's good. It came right down into the lows during the day yesterday. I mean, we didn't come quite this far down to these candles in here, but came back into these lows in 5 minutes. And obviously, immediately, it's like, okay, this looks really bearish compared to what we had yesterday. Yesterday we had that sell-off pre-market. Today we have the sell-off in the first 5 minutes. Okay, maybe it'll come down, like it did yesterday into this level and possibly bounce. And the very next candle came down to that level. I mean, that's close enough to take a trade off of if you're watching that come down there. Be like, okay, bounced here yesterday, maybe we'll bounce here again. Lots of buyers moving this thing back up to have a very small body in this candle. The next candle moved up, came back down. Actually, I'm not entirely sure which way it went. We'd have to jump into the 1 minute to see which way it was going. But, you had the bounce down here. So people were buying that, moving this up. And, people who bought yesterday were probably the same ones buying today around the 1540 price that we have on our chart. And, okay, now we got an inside candle, still really wide candle. If you were buying down here, great. You got to stop down here somewhere, get that up in this area, get it below the bullish candle. And, maybe you've locked in some gain already from down here. Inside candle, see which way that goes. Okay, it's moving up a little bit, but mostly this is 15 minutes of consolidation here. And another candle still inside of this one. So still, okay, now we got 20 minutes of consolidation. Okay, now we threw an upper wick. This could be some resistance here. But still just, still not really moving in a direction for 25 minutes. Same here, again, just sideways. Again, sideways, but smaller, much smaller here inside of these candles. We tighten up in this range. These 3 candles could be something that would form an evening star reversal with this resistance. You could get in with the trigger below the low here, or could get in with the trigger above the high here, move up to the high of the day. That would be about a 1-to-1 risk reward. Maybe wouldn't take that one, wanted to break out, come back down, bounce again. But that's if we're going bullish. And right now, with this bearish move, we're still way below this price. You'd really have to break the high here and then move up, come back down and retest it. So another candle in, and it looks a little more solidly bullish. We still have that bearish momentum. We're still in a bearish mindset, but we do start moving up bullish. Okay, here's a pause. You got an inside candle here. This looks like tweezer-ish candles. The highs and lows are actually a little bit further away from each other. They're about 40 cents away from each other. But this could be a point where that we're not going to even get back up to this level. We'll stay down here. We'll reverse here. This isn't really a strong reversal signal, but it is an inside bearish candle, which means, it should consolidate and continue up. And if it doesn't, then there'd be a signal to look for something bearish in this area. So we go into the candle, and we throw a little bit lower wick. Looks like some people are buying. This could really be a flag. Okay, this could still continue higher. And now we have a bearish engulfing candle. So this pattern of candles looks a little more bearish, and it's bringing things back down into this level of this resistance, now possibly becoming support here. But on the flip side, this is incredibly bearish here. It looks even stronger-ish. Looks stronger bearish to the downside, then this pre-market move, then we had, this one looks stronger. This looks like it could be the reversing of, this rally back up into this level, which really only rallied back up into the closing price yesterday and is coming right back into these resistances. Really right here is resistance again. And it looks like that's a good level to actually be holding. So right in here, we don't have this line 1558 in our chart, but that's what we're playing out with. This would be a quick double top. We've actually moved a little bit lower across this 20 minutes. And, aside from this candle being very bearish, this being a double top up here, this is a great place to get in bearish with a trade down to 1540 for easily a let's see, I was gonna say easily a 2-to-1, but that's 1553. This is 1559. So yeah, that'd be a 2-to-1 down to this price here if it triggers you really soon. And it does. It goes bearish and comes down, throws in a lower wick. So some folks in here were looking to buy, like this was a double bottom, or maybe getting in bullish on one of these candle, like breaking above this candle. That's a bullish move, and so it retested down into this level. So anyone who was buying off this candle bought again. But we had some higher volume on that candle. Looks like we're coming back up. Maybe we come back up to this as a neckline now. We put in, now another resistance here, another resistance here. We got some lower highs, we got some higher lows. Okay, this could consolidate. You could have some angles like this kind of thing from yesterday happen again here, and it's just a little bit tighter. That could totally work. Oh, this is nice. A little bit of a consolidation, inside candle, starting to form a squeeze. Another candle that we're continuing to squeeze, a little bit more inside. If you look at these last 5 candles, 25 minutes, this consolidation here from, if you merge these two, this range down to this range, this is even better for a break, break down here and a stop up here for something to continue lower. And that's what happens. It actually gapped on the 5-minute down, putting a space in here, a gap, which is unusual to see something like that and not fill in a 5-minute. Takes out the low with its low, closes right about that same level. So the close here is 1547.10 and the low here is 5047.19. So it did actually close below the low here. And looks like it's about to take out this only bullish candle that's left to take out before we come down to this level. I mean, we had just some wicks down in here, this body of this candle, but you're in the same area of the low from this really strong candle yesterday. But it looks like it's going to keep going down. A nice inside candle consolidating, another break bearish, and a very quick move here, inside candle, another mostly inside candle, and the rollover. So here we are down at 1540, and that's where we bounced earlier today. That's where we bounced yesterday. It's already got to close below. Let's see, maybe it'll consolidate right here and start to bounce. If not, this is a clear place to continue going bearish if you weren't enough of this consolidation, or this one, or this one, or this one, and if you weren't selling at the open, which there were a lot of people, but maybe you weren't. Okay, that's a nice bounce. We could take that. We could take that higher, get in above, like 1544 with a stop way down here, 1537, $7 risk. You do want to really have a close above that, because you don't want to just get wicked in and then this thing roll over. So you really want to close on a 5-minute. So keep watching. Okay, inside candle. This is even better if it were to go bullish. You're trapping these folks, but you still have all these folks to that are going to have stops in place somewhere in here. You could run stops, but if this continues bearish, you really want to get below the 1537 price, but you should already be in on some of these or have taken out some profits if you had gotten in up here with, a trade down with this double top. That would have been a great, hour in the trade and make 2 hours on that. So now we've actually, from this candle, we've broken lower, we've actually moved lower below this low, and it looks like we're going to continue down, a retest that level, and then just a much quicker move down. And our next line is the 1528 price, and right in here it actually bounced off of 1528 by a penny. On this candle, it's like, wow, that is a great place to bounce. That is another place we have a line. Let me take a step back, a couple steps back. So we have the level here, we have the level here. We kind of danced down it a little bit, but rolled over. Never got high enough to move higher than the closes, or than the highs in these two candles. So let me come back over to 1528. And this is a great place for it to bounce. Maybe it'll bounce and rally up to 1540. It actually goes through it a little bit, which is fine. It didn't hold there. Okay, now it's starting to bounce. These two candles are 2 cents off from a tweezer bottom. And then we get another candle that throws an upper wick, but then comes back down a little bit. And this is a nice Morningstar reversal here at a support. We didn't really get as strong candles with Morningstar perspective on these ones. You get a little more here because of the changes in the close. You had a close here, then a close here, then a close here. And just, I mean, even maybe these three with some bullishness coming in here. There's not been a lot of bullishness on this whole run down. There's only been 2 candles in a row moving up, aside from these 5 going up here. So, you know, and we had 5 going up in the same area, a similar area here yesterday. So let's see, 4 in this area. So, you know, similar moves to the bullishness there to there into resistance. And here we are, 4 bearish candles down into a support and a little bit of a bouncing. We'll see if we can get anything going to the upside here. And it looks like, again, we did a double bottom, just like we did a double top up here to start this pattern. You know, pretty much everyone going bearish, and it's just taking out some old support, new resistance, or you know, just didn't bounce here. And then we've got a double bottom, and now this is moving. Here's your new neckline here at 1531, and it moves up, comes back down a little bit, actually throws a wick a little bit above that neckline, and then indecision candle, nice and small, but just chops sideways, and then actually moves up into this price. Again, this high is 1540.35. Our line, and you can go back and look at the previous videos, is 10 cents off of that. So this is just phenomenal. We had this candle by 1 cent, this candle by 10 cents, and these are the lines we've had on our chart. I'll zoom out after we get through the end of the day here. But you know, these lines are working really well to just track with what Amazon could do. And in this case, it actually bounced here, ran up to here. Great place to get out. Great place for a reversal, because this is an old support. Now it's playing out as new resistance. And this is a similar move that we had, you know, from the bodies of these candles, the bodies of these candles, you know, probably about a 12-point move from, you know, 45 to 57, 58. Yeah, about a 12-point move up, 12-point move up. It's just really similar to what happened. And then a move down. We could see a similar size move down. It's only like 1 o'clock, almost 1 o'clock. Yeah, the next candle is the 1 to 104 candle. And it starts to break down. Takes out the lows of these candles. This is just a great place to have a reversal. This is another double top. It's just stronger on the wick up here than we got on these candles. You know, we kind of put in this upper piece of the double and the lower piece of the double. In this case, it was this side of the double, which was actually, what is that, 9 cents off a tweezer top. That put in this that looked like a upper portion of the double top, and then a lower one would have been here, but it actually threw in an upper wick. So some selling comes in. We take out the low. This is already retesting on, you know, inside this 5 minute as a neckline here. This could just roll over. This could just keep on going. You're right at that exponential inside candle. The next one is mostly an inside candle and breaks down. and I'd be looking for it to come right back into the 1528 and maybe further if it's going to do something like this again. Maybe not a move of 30 points, but from 1540, our next level below this, if you go down 30 points, that's around 1510. We have a line at 1514. You could look to that to be a target. If this had any chance of holding at this level, now we've actually, we had a short-term retest on this neckline, and we have a long-term retest on the neckline. You've got 5 bearish candles in a row, which is actually the most you've had all day. You had 3 here, 3 here, 4 here. This is 5 bearish candles in a row. Makes sense to have a little bit of buying come in. And you didn't have just that capitulation of selling. With a little bit of buy, a little bit of retracing. There's so many bulls, people getting in thinking it's going to bounce here, it's going to bounce here, and all the while just going lower. This is the only place that you actually had a real bounce that you could have gotten into. This one, it wicked down so quickly within a 5-minute, you would have really had to have something set up. This one, you had some time for this to make a double bottom, get in with the trade. Had you bought at this level here with a stop down here, wouldn't have worked at this level. Maybe you would have tried it again at another support and then gotten out at your target, close to this level, maybe get out a little bit early because you had, this level on the day, or maybe you had a little higher because you had this low, but anywhere within a range here, hopefully you're getting out for a quick move, counter trend on the day. So here we are with a bullish engulfing that if somebody was trailing or stops, maybe it hit a stop, this could be a Morningstar reversal, but it's not at a support. You want it to come back down to 1528 and then show you a reversal candle. So it just rolls over, comes right back down to 1528. It's like, okay, this worked once to buy here. We're already back down. It may not be the right time to get in for another bounce here, but some people are doing it. And the next candle, okay, that could work. We could totally bounce. This is an inside candle similar to this right here. Okay, if we have a couple bearish candles come right back into the low here, all right, if we get above them, take it. Go bullish here. 1531 by 1527, that's $4. Take it up to 1539 again. That'd be a good trade, And inside candle, all right, that's the bearish candle here, and we got a bearish candle here. This could totally work, And then we get a little bit of a bounce right here. All right, so we could go bullish here, 1530.50 by 1526.50. So again, it's just $4 risk for a move up into 1540, which that would have been 2R, 2-1 risk. And instead we put another candle in, breaking a little bit lower, taking out the low, and then actually just crush right on through the 1528 level. So this would have been a place to continue bearish. So you could have had a trade going either direction, going bullish with a move up, going bearish with a move down. And now you've broken this low, you got a new low in the day. Would make sense if it retests and then rolled down, maybe down to 1514. It doesn't retest. It just keeps coming down, and we're really close to 1514. We come down to a low of 1516.09. You can't quite see the 1514. It's right there. It's so close. We don't get there. And okay, we get a little bit of retest. This is a nice small candle. We could roll over again. We could break that. And instead we move up a little bit. We actually move up close to this low. Really we move back up to the low of the day, earlier low of the day. See this as resistance. Start to roll over, and it pulls back down to this level. Now, if you were thinking at all, it didn't get down here. We've seen it not get back up to a level, and that'd be a good bearish signal. So if it doesn't get down to a level, that's a good bullish signal. It would work both ways to do that. And so you could have gotten in on a trade to, mosey back up into the 1520s, or on this one that, this is such a great buying candle, but, we're almost to the end of the day. We're after 2:30. You would have really had to buy like on this, with a trigger bullish here, or a limit to get in bullish here by here, and seen that get filled, and then you actually push right back up into 1528.03. So 3 cents. That's different than the 1 cent we had here. Just crazy that 1528 price was really a factor today. And I remember saying it, was it yesterday's video? I said, I would love to see a pullback into 1528 to buy here, thinking it was gonna bounce, and I didn't expect this kind of a sell-off into that level. But this worked. You just had to be nimble to get in here and get out here, which the bearishness on the day and this level here, this wick, and then yesterday's, really would have been the factors. So that's the close of the day. So if we zoom out now and look at this bigger picture, so we're back into this range. We came up, consolidated on the 1514 or 1528, excuse me. Had some news after hours that then we retested back down into the 1540, bounced there, chopped around, had not much move, just sideways aftermarket and pre-market, sell off right down into the 1540 like we did yesterday, and then bounce, and then don't quite get back up to this level. We're running right into the resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. We're doing it again. So we roll over, bounce, same place we bounced from here and got up above and came back down. We bounced from here. We just didn't get into this range at all in the last couple of days because of the gap. But this was a known support, indecision, and now it's resistance. And that would have been another place to sell off. Almost down, you're still $6 off of the 1510, which would have been a nice $30 move here. But this could easily be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move to the downside, something like that. And so it's just crazy how we had some of these work out. Look in the 5 minute, we looked somewhat like we had a multi-top up in here, and with this being the lows broken down, retested, it moves so well to these lines that I hope some folks made some money on this. If we zoom back in on the day, let's take a look at this sell-off here. This one, if you had just sold at the open, this one here, and getting in on this, let's say you got in at 9:45 candle, and then maybe you saw this forming here, and you got in on the very next candle. So let's look at the 1 o'clock candle and the 9:45 candle on the put, and the put that I loaded up. Here's the call. You can see that was the rally. So from, you bought at $5 if you were ready to buy at this level here. You bought the 1550 call for $500, and it more than doubled, and you got out here for a double on the option. So if you were trading at 5x4, and I'm not sure what the price would have been down here for the option, because the theoretical value came all the way down to, well, at this point, it came down to like 170. But anyway, had you bought at 5 and stop at 4, if that was even feasible to do, you rallied up and doubled. So you made like 5R on that trade, which would have been phenomenal. But then the rest of the day, you can see the premium just getting sucked out of the 1550 call. So taking a look at the 1525 put, the quick bearish sell-off, you could have taken this real quick here if you had just had a trade set up, bought this one for, $1 and flipped it out for 2. That would have been a double on that option. If you had waited to the 945 price, so this candle, you could have gotten in here for $45, and it just kind of meandered higher until it went up to over 450. So that would have been a 9R gain on that kind of a move, with like an absolute zero. So you could have bought, maybe 2 of these, went from $90 for 2 up to $900 for 2, and that would have been like an 8R day on that kind of a move. That would have been phenomenal to catch any of this. And then it happened again. Didn't quite come down as far. You would have actually, so that low is 51 cents. So, or 51 bucks. So anyway, the other time was 1 o'clock. So you could have been getting in on this candle, let's say for 120. So that's a little bit of stretch, but you could have had a bullish trigger here at 120, or just bought in that candle, and then your stop is down at 20 cents or 20 bucks, and that's just a $100 risk. And so that actually would have been a little worrisome that it came back down to this level. That would have been the place you'd be like, oh, if I just waited on this candle. So this candle was 120, and that would have been 120. It was right here. So seeing a little bit of a retest of, a neckline here, or of the breakdown candles here. The premium is trying to get sucked out of these. At this point, you're $10 out of the money from the 15.25. And even though you've got so much more time in the day, you've had such a big move, it still gets there. Could have bought on that candle for like 120, that high, and seen it roll over, chop around here, and then roll over again. And if we go back to the put, you kind of saw that, the retest here, or the on the option, a Morningstar reversal here, just some sideways chop that gave plenty of people time to get in, get out, whatever you want to do, and then rallied up. So had you bought down in here for $100 and flipped it out, let's say at $8, that would have been 7R on that kind of a trade, and probably would have been looking for it to go a little bit higher to the 15.14 price. That would have at least been $11 in the option, probably 12 with the amount of volatility right in here at the end of the day. But didn't quite get there, so maybe you were trailing and you got out down here when you trade or stop at like $5, and so that would have been a 4R trade on the day. Still 4R from $1 up to $5 on that kind of a move. So lots of places that you could have traded. This kind of sell-off with some ebbs and flows in here. Even the rallies were good. About $10 here, about $10 here. Or what did I say, 12 earlier? It was 12. And then this one here, not quite as high as the rest, but still, the 15.25 call that we were looking at, it could have made money on that a couple different times at pivots. But it actually ended, it closed the day, so it got in the money by almost $10, $9 here, and then it actually closed out of the money. And so, if you weren't nimble, if you weren't, setting your target at something reasonable on the puts, you're actually out of the money, and that would have expired worthless. So that's not what you want to do when you're buying the options. So we come back over in here and look at the daily, and this is a very nice candle. I thought it was engulfing, but it's got a little bit of the wick here, but we've taken it a low. We've definitely retested this bullish retest gap, and there's still the potential we could come down to another one down in here to the 1500 price or further. We got earnings coming up. I believe it's next Thursday after hours, and so expect to see some wild swings in this. But if we have, so this is a good resistance. All these highs were large bearish candles. Even this one is a large bearish candle at somewhat of a high over here compared to over here. If we have more sell-off, retesting this island reversal here, coming back down to the 1450 price, 1455 in here, and then we end up gapping up. It doesn't have to gap that far. If it gaps above 1570, 1572, or maybe up above this one, this candle's open is 1572. So let's say if it gaps up above 1575 up here, it's only got a few people selling up here, but you've trapped even more people after sell-off here. So we'll look at it each day. We'll especially look at Thursday, what we think it's going to do when it, or if it ends up gapping after hours, to see how to play it. But start thinking through that now, what you want to do when it comes down in here. Do you want to wait for earnings? Do you think earnings are going to be positive? Do you want to get into something with an absolute zero and your typical your normal risk amount? Or do you want to wait till after earnings, see what it actually does to open? Just plan it out. So we'll look at it each day and see how things are moving up into earnings. But this move here, phenomenal. And zooming back out a little bit. So this was the consolidation we saw. It bounced, or it broke out. It came back. It pulled back a little bit, and it's looking like it's bouncing. And it definitely has the potential here to do like an inverted head and shoulders if it wants to do that and continue higher. We're at a level of some consolidation from a couple days ago up here, and then from even further back. We had these lines from stuff going on in here and back over in here. So all these levels still in play, and we'll see if we have to make new ones after earnings or anywhere before that. But it makes sense to have this breakout, start to pull back. We'll just see, where is this pullback going to end? Is it going to come down this far? Is it going to take out some of these lows, come down? The 100 simple moving average is down around 1370, so it's down around here right now. So it still could come down that far into 1300s and touch the simple moving average for earnings and then bounce off of that. I'm sure some folks will have some orders in to get into calls here, and similarly if they did here because of stuff back here. So that's the bigger picture of what's going on and what's coming up. But looking at the 5 minute, there's some very clear signals here. Support, now resistance, and made some good money on some of those moves. So hopefully you're take a look at some of these options to see how they move right along with the stock. And I always enjoy watching what's going to happen on Fridays and where you can make just a boatload just by risking with the absolute zero and seeing how things move. So today was a day to trade with the trend, and we'll see if that trend continues Monday with some more bearishness or not. All right, this is Just AMZN. Thanks.